So in the movie, this truck is sort of spoiled, but they are escaping from these guys who are following them. It's called Mad Max.
Oh yeah, I love Mad Max.
Mad Max
One
Fury
of my
Road.
favorite movies, actually.
So in Mad Max Fury Road, they have to fix the truck as it's moving.
Yeah.
So that is basically how life is.
Yeah.
Like, you will have to fix your blunders, but you cannot stop.
You cannot stop moving.
You cannot say you've stopped. You've now parked in a garage. You sort your blunders before you go on. No.
Yeah.
And one thing he says is, he actually said, he actually tweeted it: better bored than busy. In the world of today, there's something that from a while back it was looked down upon.
Yeah.
Boredom.
Yeah.
And in boredom, you can actually think. It's basically a personal choice, because at the end of the day, you have to realize, just like the people who have lived the earth 100 years from when we came to be, like, the day still has 24 hours.
24 hours.
So, and everyone has their 24 hours, and some people are jamming a lot of things into their 24 hours. But if you want to improve your life, you have to focus on what you can remove. There are people who have way a lot, and there's so many who don't have. So I said that for my book, I will not actually say that this amount you have, I'll charge you this for you to interact with this content, because at the end of the day, I don't consider this content like mine. It is stuff that has come from me, but before it came from me, I received it. One thing I've realized is that one individual that you might very much disagree with is your future self.
Yeah,
because
I like that. Yeah,
because we tend to think that this is the direction, that I'm doing this to help my future self, but your future self might not really see it that way.
Yeah,
they would like look back and say, I wish you had more courage. From the same stories, someone else will get a totally new perspective from that story. And he said his perspective from this story from the Bible, the parable of remember this son who went and squandered his father's...
the prodigal son.
The prodigal son. Mm-hmm. So he said how he sort of absorbed that story is that we are all the father. Mm-hmm. And these two sons, one, the older son who stays at home, that is our intellect.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the younger son who goes out there, that is the adventurer in
the
us.
Adventurer. Yeah.
And your intellect...
So interesting, yeah.
Your intellect and your adventurer will always collide from time to time.
So true. Hi, I always find it super interesting when people make like career switches, say like, from tech to writing to running a business. And that those journeys, they're sometimes really encouraging because it's individuals who have decided to reinvent themselves. So today, that is what we'll be discussing. This is someone I met on like LinkedIn, and a big supporter and a subscriber for my content. And we talk a lot. I love what he shares. I love the articles that he writes. I really enjoy them. So we'll just start with, an intro, about who you are, and we can go from there.
I'm Muturu Brevin. I have done a bit of writing. As I said before, I don't consider myself a writer, but here we are. I've sort of flowed with life where it has taken me, trying to make the best out of the cards that I'm dealt. So that is one of the projects that I have been doing for the past year. I decided to write a book, and I've done it in small chunks. I call them episodes.
Yep.
So I dropped an episode and another and another and another since November last year. And now, yeah, you are almost dropping the last one, the grand finale.
Nice.
Yeah.
I guess as you talked about, and when we had an icebreaker where you introduced us to Plain Sequence, which is a really interesting game. Thank you. I am now hooked. Let's talk about the cards you are dealt with. Like, where did you go to school? And I know you studied like IT, networking, you specialized in networking. We can touch that on that a little bit.
Yeah. So schooling, primary, high school in Mombasa, Amani. There is a primary school somewhere in Mikindani, and then Aldina Visram. And that is on the island, Mombasa, and then to Moi University, where I did information science. It's a sort of a broad, career. You can take several parts out of information science. Some people go to media, some to records management, others to, which is the other option? Yeah, there's IT. There was one more.
Networking, then you did, no?
No. So in IT is where you can now
Yeah.
specialize whether you want to be a software developer
Yeah.
and
Network
networking,
engineer.
yeah, and so on. The other one was informatics.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Now informatics was like very IT centric,
Yeah.
not like information science. Information science was still a bit broad. And from there, a bit of work experience in the IT industry, and then life happens. And then you flow with it.
What do you mean life happens? I want to know when. I think this is where when the life happen moments, those are the best moments, because I think that's the point of discovery. Yeah, we go down one door and you're like, okay, I need to figure stuff out. When you say life happens, what happened?
I think it's a mix of this and that. Mm-hmm. That 2020, the Corona moment, mm-hmm. And I sort of struggled to find my position.
Yeah.
In that career, and I started asking myself a bit of questions here and there, like if you totally remove the money, would I still be doing this?
Yeah, good question. Yeah.
So in that soul searching moment, you come to realize that a bit of what we do is survival.
Yeah, we're all trying to fight poverty.
Yeah. Poverty is the enemy, as we like to say.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and when I was trying to figure out my way of how I'll survive, I stumbled into business.
You stumbled into it, yeah.
I just stumbled into it. It was not something that I premeditated or planned. So that happened, and as my day to day went by, I realized that I was very bored, sort of intellectually.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because I needed something to challenge my intellect.
Yeah.
And at the time, okay, I have to say that when I had the urge to write a book all the way from back in campus, I would never have guessed that it would be fiction.
Okay, yeah.
Or a story.
Yeah.
I was into nonfiction, and I always wrote some stuff on a notebook or somewhere where I decided this is the content for the book.
Yeah.
And then with time, that I came across now fiction. I read a bit of Ngugi wa Thiong'o.
Oh, nice. One of my favorite authors.
I read a bit of other stories, and fiction sparked something in me.
Yeah.
I realized there is a lot of power in stories, and we come across stories every day, but we don't actually know that these are stories.
Yeah.
Because in the life of today, even brands, these are just stories.
Yeah, they're stories, yeah.
Yeah. The stories that people are trying to tell. and movies and all sort of things that are trying to capture our attention. These
Yeah.
are stories.
Yeah.
And stories are powerful because they tell us where to focus. They tell us what is important.
Yeah.
They tell us what we should be concerned with.
Yeah.
And that is a very powerful thing to be able to sort of have a stake in,
Yeah.
you know. And when your story can turn a lot of attention, that's it. You don't need to take money from people, because that is value. When you take their time, that is value.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And anything else, any other treasure, they'll give it to you willingly
Yeah.
because you took their attention.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we live in a world where attention is
The biggest currency, right?
biggest currency.
Yeah.
Everyone, even yourself right now.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Trying to build this brand. When you
Yeah.
get more followers, if your advertisers are like,
Wow,
Wangare,
Gary, your followers. Yes. Yeah.
tell them about our story.
Yeah.
Tell them about our product. Tell
Yeah.
them about our service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. It is actually the core of everything that we do.
Yeah,
And that's why I brought you on here. So like, where do you get, like, I think you've mentioned with your stories, you get a lot of inspiration from like your day to day, from authors like Googie. Like, where else do you draw like inspiration?
Okay. A lot of my inspiration comes from the fact that I realized how powerful stories are, and my love for stories. Like one of the things that I've shared on LinkedIn from time to time is movies.
Yeah.
Movies, TV series, like the things that we do, but we don't sort of consider them professional. So they are just on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone is on this platform being professional, and these are just things that they do on the weekends. They are albums, music albums that they love. They have documentaries that they love. They have music, and these are stories and stories that bring us together are so powerful.
Yeah.
And I think having the ability to write something beautiful, something that brings a lot of people together, it's a one in a lifetime sort of opportunity that I would love to have.
Okay. Yeah, that's very true.
So my first story, I don't really consider it as so good.
It's always your first. Even me, my first video, I was like, I remember my first YouTube, but you keep it there because you're like, it shows your progression and your growth. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it has plunged me into this world where I have looked into stories. I have learned a lot
Yeah.
when it comes to telling a story.
Okay.
And yeah, with time I can see my progress, and I'm impressed.
And it's like proof of work, right? It's really,
Exactly.
it's a really nice feeling.
Yeah.
Maybe just give us like, I know I've read a lot of your stories, and those are the ones that you share like on LinkedIn. I am an avid follower of yours. If you can just give people listening to this just like a high level summary of the book. And I'm assuming the book you're writing is some of those articles you've shared on LinkedIn.
Yeah. So summarizing it,
it's gonna be tough,
it is sort of a journey.
Yeah.
Which I consider life to be. It is a journey that we usually don't see what is coming. Yeah. So.
And I liked that about the book, actually. That's what kept me going from the next episode to the next episode. Yeah.
So, and the reason why I tend to compare it with life, one fact is the fact that even for me, from chapter to chapter, I didn't know what I'm writing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I realized that I would not actually write a book with the approach that I was using before, because I'm sort of a perfectionist, and I'll write to a certain point and then start looking back and start correcting. Yeah. And life does not happen that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfectionism like hinders progress.
This day comes,
Yeah.
you're so perfect.
Yeah.
The next day you make blunders, and you sort of fix the blunders as you go along.
Yeah.
I like the analogy from this movie. What is it called? I've forgotten the movie.
When you remember, just, yeah.
So
But what's the analogy?
So in the movie, this truck is sort of spoiled, but they are escaping from these guys who are following them. It's called Mad Max.
Oh yeah, I love Mad Max.
Mad Max
One
Fury
of my
Road.
favorite movies, actually.
So in Mad Max Fury Road, they have to fix the truck
Yeah.
as it's moving.
Yeah.
So that is basically how life is.
Yeah.
Like, you will have to fix your blunders, but you cannot stop.
You cannot stop moving.
You cannot say you've stopped. You've now parked in a garage. You sort your blunders before you go on. No,
Yeah.
time keeps on moving, and you keep on progressing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of the things you regret, some you are proud of, but at the end of the day, you have to show up the next day.
Keep moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so with the book, that chapter to chapter, I focus on a chapter, I write its story, and I ensure that it is not closed ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you leave
So-
the reader like, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
gonna happen next?
Yeah.
And I also leave room for myself to maneuver in any direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I'm done with the chapter, editing, and then I post it. And I forget about it because now it's
It's out there.
in the public,
Yeah,
just like life.
yeah. Yeah. Well, the bits that you want out in the public.
Exactly,
But I understand, like, in terms of content, because yeah, everyone goes through, if you are creating something, you create, you share, like, hey, I don't
Yeah.
know how this will go,
Yeah.
but you've done your best at that point.
And even when it comes to my journey on LinkedIn, like the stuff I share from day to day, sometimes I look back and I say, I shouldn't have shared that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I genuinely like all,
But-
like, because sometimes it breaks the monotony. Your posts break the monotony
Yeah.
of, like, what's happening on LinkedIn.
I know.
You're pushing Pan-Africanism and, like, thinking about our history,
Yeah,
like, which is, like, sometimes you need to remember that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But again, from time to time, there are things that you'll put out there, and just like words, if you are talking to someone, maybe you are in a relationship with someone and you're talking with them every day, from time to time you'll say something that you sort of didn't mean.
Yeah.
And you sort of wish you can take
It back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So blunders will always happen.
Yeah.
But you show up every day with that energy, with that psyche, with that liveliness, and you just continue.
Yeah. I don't think we touched on the book, like the summary. I know it's hard to tell you to summarize it.
Yeah.
But, like, just try, like, or I can
Okay.
yeah?
Let me start with the title.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, I started writing last year, but from 2020, I knew the title of the book.
Okay.
The title is Nomads of Consciousness. Mm-hmm. And
I like that.
This analogy is saying that we are all nomads.
Yeah.
We all try to move from positions of less pastures to greener pastures.
Yeah. Transit beings.
Yeah. And what is bombarded to us, what tries to steal our attention, is like trying to guide us in a certain direction. Like, everyone wants you to move in their direction. Like, this is where the greener pastures are. This is where the greener pastures are. And all these people who are trying to pull you in their direction, they're actually selling shovels.
Yeah.
You in a gold rush, you make money by selling
the shovels.
the shovels.
Yeah.
So I tend to look at when someone is trying to attract young people in a certain direction, maybe a career and all that. And what they are selling is content, is sort of education. They are selling you a shovel to go in this direction or in that direction. To them, it doesn't matter if the gold or the greener pastures are actually there.
Yeah.
They have already achieved their objective.
Yeah.
This analogy of nomads of consciousness, I think I would like to inspire young people to sort of take back their power,
Amen. Yeah.
to evaluate things from a broader perspective, to zoom out and try to understand things without our human beings. We always have, what do I call this? Is it rational? No. We always have biases.
Yeah, that's true.
So when you place yourself, when something happens anywhere, you don't look at it from the perspective of this thing happens. You look at it from the perspective that how does this thing affect me?
Yeah.
Yeah. But when you sort of remove yourself, when you zoom out, you can be able to evaluate the situation better. And when you understand the situation better, sometimes you find that you are not on the right side.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at it from how is it affecting me, you will never find fault in yourself.
Yeah, because it's very selfish and centered
Ego.
on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So ego, it sort of clouds our judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a blind spot. And it is something that we all have.
Yeah. One of my favorite songs by Kanye West is like, yeah, ego death. When your ego dies, I think that's where you get a lot of awakening as well.
Yeah. So when you try to evaluate situations without ego, you sort of...
You're objective.
Yeah, you're objective. You appreciate the world more. You are even a bit more happier, I would say.
That's so true. True.
Because now you're trying to see what is, and not from this lens of how is this affecting me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting, very philosophical, very deep. I love it. Do you get moments where you have like creativity blocks or just like writer's block? I know I have moments where I'm just like, oh, I don't want to do content. I don't feel very creative. Like,
Yeah. I do a lot.
Yeah?
Okay, there's this entrepreneur, an angel investor. He's called Naval Ravikant.
You share a lot about him.
Yeah.
I knew about him from you, actually. Yeah.
So now Naval sort of shares a lot of mental models that can help you improve sort of your view on the world, improve yourself, improve how you look at things. And one thing he says is, he actually said, he actually tweeted it, better bored than busy. So in the world of today, there's something that from a while back, it was looked down upon.
Yeah.
Boredom.
Yeah.
And in boredom, you can actually think.
That's true.
But in the world of today, boredom is sort of a luxury.
It's looked down upon. Yeah.
It's looked down
Busyness
upon.
Is the hype.
It's looked down upon, and it's also sort of a luxury because...
Yeah, true.
We with all the attention seekers that we have, especially from our phones and all around, you'll rarely find someone who's bored. You're bored. Why don't you get on Twitter? You're bored. Why don't you get on TikTok?
That's very true. And it's my kids who come and say, I'm bored. I'm like, yeah, it's true. You never hear,
We have YouTube. We have this. We have that.
There's something, yeah.
Yeah, there's always something. And your brain, when you get on these apps and you're looking at that content, your brain sort of releases this feel-good chemical.
Yeah,
dopamine.
Yeah, dopamines, yeah.
So, like, it becomes a behavior that you repeat again and again, and sometimes to your own detriment.
Of course, yeah.
So Another writer that I follow and I've read a bit of his books is Nassim Taleb.
Okay, you and Chris, all right. Buddies, yes, that's a, yeah.
So,
yeah.
from one of Taleb's book, it's about bed of proxusis. Yeah, bed of something. Yeah,
We'll look it up.
so from that book, they are sort of proverbs.
Okay.
Yeah, it is not like a storybook. Or,
So it's
yeah,
just like,
it's
yeah.
just lines that is right. And there is one that says, like, the life of a sucker can be totally destroyed with technology, with like while it's convincing you that it's making your life more effective.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have to really look at what hooks us,
Yeah.
at what takes our attention. Because to get your attention, algorithms have really used the approach of negativity.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you are looking at something negative, a threat or something, they'll give you more of that because that is what is getting you hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And if
it,
you look,
it,
yeah.
it takes people to a dark place.
It really does. So that's why you need to be careful about like the people you follow, the content you follow.
Yeah.
I choose sometimes just to follow memes and funny. Like, you know, when you're
Exactly.
just like laughing versus like, oh
yeah.
my God, this is all so depressing.
Yeah.
yeah.
But with time, they found that negative content sort of hooks people more. Hate is such a powerful, and
Is it more powerful than love?
actually it's not.
Okay.
But it has been used from time to
Time to time.
and it has been found to be very effective because
Yeah, I agree.
love is not easy.
It's not, yeah, but always choose love.
Hate is way easier.
Yeah.
And that is why algorithms with time have used that.
We live in a scary world.
And now we are coming to a time that the next revolution, what is actually feared is that they will actually start using love.
Yeah.
And that is the AI revolution.
Yeah.
So there was this the book 21st Lesson for the 21st Century.
I haven't
This
read
guy-
it, but I think I've heard about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this writer, he says how much of a threat AI is. So he advocates for governments to set up laws where if I'm interacting with an AI online, the first thing this program needs to do is identify itself as
An AI. Hi, I'm an
Yeah.
AI, by the way.
Yeah, because we are going into a realm where you can't trust what you see, you can't trust what you hear,
Yeah.
because a lot of these things can be generated with AI,
Yeah.
deepfakes.
Yeah.
You thought I was feeling you, then for months. Either he ate it for lunch, but somewhat better I go with on one leg. I would define munch as like just a eater or somebody that's like obsessed with you, or it could be a hater. Either way, they still obsessed with you. A eater is just somebody that just likes to like eat.
So, and we are coming to a time when your kids can have their smartphone. They're interacting with this individual on the other side
It's
of the
not
world.
even a real,
It's not a real person.
real person. Yeah.
And this person can be able to manipulate their feelings. And
yeah.
as I said, love is a greater emotion
Yeah.
compared to hate.
Yeah.
So we've seen what hate can do.
Yeah. We have.
Now we are going to a realm where we can see what love can do.
Yeah.
And when people are sort of in love and changing their position based on the position of this other individual who's not even
a human.
is not even a human being.
Yeah.
That is a sort of a scary realm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have to remember that AI is a computer, it's a program,
Yeah.
and it will follow its master's programming.
Yeah.
So you should not really be scared of a robot. you should be more scared
Of the person.
of the person controlling the robot,
That is very true.
because this machine will act without remorse, without hesitation,
Yeah.
at whatever it is told to achieve.
To do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are going into a very interesting realm, and I try to be
Positive, yeah.
and optimistic of the future, and that is what I want to sort of someone to take away from when they interact with my writing, my content, and all that.
Yeah.
From time to time, that is why I told you I regret some of the things that I post, because I look back and I'm like, was this really,
Necessary.
if this is the kind of content I'm giving to my younger self 5 years ago, would I love it? Would they help me?
Yeah.
Yeah, would that content help me? So yeah, from time to time we sort of stumble, but yeah.
You get there.
Yeah.
So I think you mentioned how you get by, like your creativity slumps is like, you knowing, being very self-aware. These are kind of the things that you're hooked on, and that will, anything else like to drag you back.
Yeah.
Do you practice like, and boredom? You said you're okay to be bored.
Yeah. In fact, he actually insists. He says that you should schedule time
To be bored.
to do absolutely nothing.
How much time? Me,
I
that's
don't
what
know.
my Sundays usually. Like my Sunday, I'm like, I want to do nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, from time to time I try.
Yeah.
Even just 30 minutes, 1 hour, I just tell myself, I'm not touching the phone. I'm just
Yeah.
looking outside, interacting with nature, interacting with people, just trying to take that boredom in, because when you're bored, you can think. That is when the most unique ideas can hit you,
Yeah.
because you're not sort of consuming.
Yeah.
You're trying to create, you're trying to produce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I tend to agree with you. I'm not so good at it right now, but there's a time I ditched my like smartphone, and it was like, it's just amazing the stuff that you can think of, the time that you have. It contributes also to just better sleep. It's just like there's a whole range of positive effects, like just removing that one piece for me helped. But sometimes I'm like, I need to get back to that. But the world we live in, it makes it almost like very hard.
Difficult. Very
difficult to like, sometimes like I always get back when I'm traveling. Like to travel, everything is just like, why do you have papers? Do I like, it's just like...
And then there's this thing when you go to you can go to your smartphone with a very sort of humble thing you want to do.
Yeah.
Let's say I just want to check the time.
Yeah.
And when I put my finger on that button, it's unlocked.
Yeah.
Now that it's unlocked, I swipe up, and the social apps are there.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, I've tried to block notification.
Okay.
If I'm not in a certain app, I won't see its notifications. So
what apps do you use?
I actually
what social
a friend will send me a mail, and they will call.
Yeah.
Like a day later. Like, did you see? I'm like, no, I haven't gone to my emails of late. So, and same thing with WhatsApp. Same thing with LinkedIn. I go from time to time because I post content there, but I find it interesting that these are things that humanity has lived without for so long.
And now we are hooked. Yeah, it's so crazy.
Yeah. So.
And you said you're on Twitter. Like, I find Twitter, I can't. Like, I really cannot. I'm just like, my God.
Twitter is like the marketplace. Yeah. You shout something, there are voices from all over.
Yeah. It's the streets. Huh?
So, there's who put this out there? Okay, someone I follow, Naval or the others. He said, if you are doing something long term, you have to take the risk in your name. Yeah. So when I was trying to figure out which social media to be active in, I considered Twitter and LinkedIn and the others, but I eventually decided LinkedIn because in LinkedIn most people represent themselves with their own names.
And they're very professional.
Uh,
Most of the time.
Actually,
Eh?
the profession comes from the fact that it's their own identity.
Yeah.
It is the same people who are very unprofessional in other
On Twitter. Okay, yeah, true.
because they are using pseudo accounts.
Pseudo accounts, yeah.
Yeah. You can post something and someone can sort of talk down on that and tell you this is shit. That is maybe how they feel genuinely, but they won't tell you that on
They will
LinkedIn.
say it in a very professional way.
If there's an argument, they'll try to be more gentle.
Yeah,
Because they are doing this in their name.
in their name.
Yeah. Rather than when they are doing it with a pseudonym. When they are doing it with a pseudonym, they can
care.
be they can be very hateful.
Yeah, it's so true.
And we see it all the time.
All the time.
With the Twitter bullying and all that.
Yeah. I mean, I like that and I agree with it. And I would love to hear your thoughts on Reddit. I actually think the Reddit Kenyan Reddit, it's actually the subreddit, it's actually really good. Like sometimes I'm actually really surprised. Yes, there's an anonymity to it, but people tend to be, you'll get the one or two, but people tend to be very respectful, very constructive. Like, yes, you'll get the one or two, but I'm always like, wow, we can actually have this really interesting conversations, people helping each other, which is like really nice to see sometimes.
Yeah, so I'd say from time to time, there are a lot of social apps that I have allowed myself to not interact with.
Not interact with, yeah. Mine is Twitter.
Reddit,
Reddit, okay.
Instagram.
Oh yeah, me, Instagram.
Never created an account.
Facebook.
And created long ago, became dormant. I let it go. And okay.
YouTube?
I interact with YouTube content, but I don't post anything.
You don't post anything?
Yeah. So it's basically a personal choice, because at the end of the day, you have to realize, just like the people who have lived the earth 100 years from when we came to be, like the day still has 24 hours.
24 hours, yeah.
So, and everyone has their 24 hours, and some people are jamming a lot of things into their 24 hours. But if you want to improve your life, you have to focus on what you can remove. Because that is the same 24 hours you had 5 years ago. It is the same 24 hours you have today.
Yeah.
So when you've focused on jamming it with more, you get that you don't have quality time for yourself.
Yeah.
Quality time to do a lot of things that you would wish to do.
Yeah.
And that realization that a lot of things that I'd wish to do, I'll not actually do them, that is actually what prompted me, or sort of pushed me to the edge and said, I'm writing this, I'm doing this. I've written articles before, and one of my lecturers read one of my articles sometime back. It was about 5G. And
I've actually read that one as well.
And they, when I met with them, they told me, Brevin, I read your article. Brevin, you can write.
You can. And you're a writer, and I told you that. If you're writing, you're a writer.
So I went out of that with telling myself, repeating that to myself. Brevin, you can write. You can write.
Yeah.
So
sometimes you just do need those hype people.
Yeah. So I went back, and that urge to write a book, I said, I'm doing this.
You're doing this.
Yeah.
And it's been a great experience. And
awesome. Yeah. And I think I've celebrated that way too much that I'm just actually not going to celebrate it when I'm done. I've celebrated the journey.
Yeah, which is very important.
It has been awesome.
So when are you launching the final, And are you going to
There-
do like a hard copy, or you'll just keep it? What are you thinking?
Okay, so for my book, I decided I'm not going uh, to charge to equate that you have to pay me this to read the book. And it will be free. It will be online, whether on LinkedIn. And by the time this episode drops, we can actually add a link to where I can post the whole book.
Okay.
And anyone can interact with it. And
What's-
we live in a capitalist world.
Okay, I was gonna ask what's your decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We live in a capitalist world, so yes, we need money to survive. And I find that money is so unequally distributed.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are people who have way
A
a lot, and there's so many who don't have. So I said that for my book, I will not actually say that this amount you have, I'll charge you this for you to interact with this content, because at the end of the day, I don't consider this content like mine. It is stuff that has come from me, but before it came from me, I received it from what I interact with.
From your okay.
Yeah, and that is how I created these sort of analogies from the things that I interact with. And yeah, so basically, I'll not charge anything. I want as many people as possible to read it. And here is something interesting. Many people do not give a shit what I wrote, and they will not read the book. But from the people that will read the book, is sort of a normal distribution curve.
Yes.
There are those who will be very impressed. They'll be like, damn,
This is good.
this is awesome.
Yeah.
And there will be the majority will be here at the center saying, it's sort of good. Nah, anyone can write this. And then on this other end, there will be people who will read it and they will be like, damn, this is shitty.
Yeah. And you have to accept that. Yeah.
And now these are the people who I want to give this message to, because I've read Kenyan sort of writers and Kenyan content before, and I've come across some things that I consider pretty shitty.
Yeah.
And Kenyans, when someone releases something, even music, and to the people who don't like it, especially on Twitter, people will come and say like, you see that is it a Bible related thing when they say if you don't sing to God, even the stones will start singing to him?
Yeah.
So people are like, the stones have started singing.
Yeah.
So I don't consider myself the best of storytellers, but to the people who will find my work very shitty, I'm challenging you, because you can do better. And
Then do it.
we need to hear your stories.
Yeah.
Get that oomph of courage. Yeah.
But I always say there are very few who will do that. Like, Kenyans are complainers, and they'd rather like, and I say this because of like, sometimes when you put out content, you'll just see the people in the comments saying very hurtful and mean things.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, if you didn't like how I did it, please go ahead. Like I always say I'd love more people doing having these conversations. So I like that analogy, because that's something I relate to a lot. And but
we need more voices from young people.
Yeah.
Even just to be able to move conversations in the realm of this thing affects us. A lot of things even that our sort of government takes on that affect young people. Young people are not really
there's no
voicing.
There's no public participation, which is like, come on, why haven't we had a part in some of these things that we're being told?
We are very docile.
Very.
Because to a large extent, people are like, okay, and it's something that I've realized even on Twitter, when someone says something that is not to support something, someone will be like, yeah, and when you're doing it in your name, they are like, can't you see that this might cost you bread in future?
Yeah.
Like, we keep quiet when we don't agree with something because we are sort of trying to
Conform.
not really to conform, but to sort of ensure that we don't put stains on our future. Because
Yeah.
you're like, maybe I'll be here in future, and someone will start quoting what I said back
Yeah.
then. But
And they will.
And yeah,
Yeah.
and one thing I've realized is that one individual that you might very much disagree with is your future self.
Yeah.
Because
I like that. Yeah.
because we tend to think that this is the direction that I'm doing this to help my future self, but your future self might not really
Things
see it
change.
that way.
Yeah.
They would like look back and say, I wish you had more courage. I wish you lived more. I wish you lived life a bit more carefree.
Yeah.
No? Yeah.
Amen.
So,
Do you think you sound like you've reached like self-actualization? Like some like just like talking to you. Yeah, I'd love to. Do you would you say you have? Or are you at a point where you're just
I think it's a journey that I'm taking day by day.
it's a journey that you're
Yeah,
taking day by
yeah,
day. Yeah.
I'm trying to understand myself, and in knowing yourself, you get to realize that a lot of us live life passively.
Yeah, it's so true.
Very much
Very
so.
true. Very true.
Like, we are not intentional with the things that we are doing.
Yeah.
And when you're more intentional with the things that you're doing, you will become a bit less of a perfectionist.
Yeah.
And it's so very important because a lot of things we will plan, we will do a lot of research, we will say,
Yeah.
I'm waiting to get this amount, I'm waiting for the right time. And we procrastinate a lot and we end up just living life passively.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the right time never comes.
Never. Now is the right time, this moment. Yeah. Yeah, and that's I mean, I'm echoing with a lot of what you're saying because like, yeah, those are a lot of my values. Like, yeah, do live in the moment, you know, live
Yeah,
carefree.
yeah, yeah.
Don't hold grudges. Like, you know, yeah, you said something about me. Like, let's just move on. And it's a very freeing place to be. But sometimes
All we have is now. All we
that's
have
it,
is
this
now.
moment, yeah.
The future is the past is gone. The future we are not sure
We're
about
not
it.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
We have this moment and we make the most out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think at some point you would like I'm a big believer of like conscious capitalism.
Okay.
Like as you said, we do live in a capitalistic world, but
Yeah.
then there does need to be a level of consciousness around how we make money. And it's hard to say like I'll provide everything that I'm doing for free because I have
Yeah.
needs.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to get to a stage where, as a writer, I know this is your first book, you'll be like, let me put,
Yeah.
even if it's like $1 or
Okay.
like,
Even with this first book of mine, I think I'll put an option to donate.
donate, yeah?
Yeah. If you have something, if you'd like to support, I'd put an option to donate because we cannot survive in this capitalist world without the greens.
Yeah.
And that is a funny point that I found when I was talking about greener pastures. When we talk about greener pastures to the people who lived on Earth like 100 to 200 years ago, greener pastures were literally greener pastures.
Greener pastures, yes. Where the cows could have green pastures and eat and be healthy and yeah.
But right now, greener pastures has turned to
I don't know what that means.
the paper.
Yeah,
Paper.
but
We're chasing paper. This paper is the greener pasture.
But I don't know whether you've ever seen this curve. Like it gets to a point more money does not change like your outlook in life, does not change
True.
your happiness level.
True.
Like, but people are pushing for like, I
Yeah.
want to make more, I want to earn more, I want
Yeah.
to be more power. Yeah.
And that's something that, in a funny way, sort of scares me,
Yeah, yeah.
because there's this artist. He was talking in an interview, and when he became famous, he was like, everywhere he went, people wanted to associate with him, take pictures with him, uh, those
Autographs.
those autographs and all, and it totally affected his flow.
Yeah, I can
Now
imagine. Yeah.
all his time had been swiped away. Now he had to actually change where he lives, go somewhere remote, go somewhere where he can sort of take his time back, because now and he was like, it's not really in a negative way. People just sort of see you and want to like rob of some of the fame from you. Like, if I just interact with you, if I take a picture with you, it will have more likes. So I just want to be, and there's this thing where you hear so and so is coming somewhere, and people go to that event because this individual will be there and they're big, and you just want to be there because you see that as a step to escalating the ladder and following from the path that they have taken, because you see that is where you'll also find your breakthrough of sorts.
It's perceived.
Yeah, it is perceived.
Yeah.
But life sort of happens in different ways, because in a sort of funny, because you will succeed here, and people will sort of run to this direction where you succeed, and someone else will succeed here,
Somewhere else.
and people will turn to this and so if you like are sort of following where something has happened,
You're going chasing cloud. You're chasing the hype.
yeah, you're chasing the hype, and you're chasing the result, and not the actions that led to the result.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very deep, because I do like the idea of just remaining authentic, of like being very like self-made, like knowing yourself and then understanding these are my qualities, these are my traits, and this is what I can do to add value to the world.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think there's just so much peace that comes with that versus trying to
And
like yeah.
authenticity is very necessary in
Necessary,
life.
yeah.
You have to take back that power to realize that you're an individual,
Yeah.
because the world always tries to put us in groups.
In boxes and
Yeah.
stereotype us and yeah.
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 Put this face, this is a writer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is one thing that I don't really consider myself, because I'm like, I might decide to tomorrow to do a graphic project,
Film.
yeah,
Yeah.
something else, wherever life takes my creativity and my energy, I'll just flow with it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wow. No wonder we're good friends on LinkedIn. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on about your journey? I don't want to put you in, I now get it clear that I don't want to put you in the writers. Yeah, but anything else?
Okay. When it comes to stories, there are a lot of things that are, or sort of a lot of stories that we are coming across every day.
Yeah.
And they are trying to capture our attention.
Yeah.
But very few stories last.
Okay.
Yeah. And someone said that the book that is old, that has been read for like 30, 40, 50 years, is probably the book that will be read in the next 20, 30, 40 years.
50 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so true.
And Nassim talked about it in his book, in what he called the Lindy effect. They researched in, it was, I think, a restaurant where these plays were being made in that sort of area or something like that. And they realized that a show that lasted 20 days could last 20 more. So this Lindy effect basically is something that has really affected my work, because anyone who produces something wants it to last.
Yeah.
And he was like, if you want to produce something that will last, you have to ask yourself, would this thing have been relevant 10 years ago? If you want it to be relevant 10 years from now. Yeah.
I like that.
And that is why he says some of the things that capture our attention are really useless.
Very, by the way.
Yeah, because you'll never see someone wanting so much to read last week's paper or even yesterday's paper.
And it's just kind of
like, how does this thing, which is a story, just loses its value so fast? Because the world is ever changing, and there are some things that are timeless.
yeah.
Yeah, they've been there and they'll be there, and sort of
Telling stories about them and making sure they
So I always wanted to create a story or whatever I create to be timeless. And there's actually a small project that I did. I'll share with you.
Okay.
And we can even put a link on that. It's a small graphic project. And yeah, when I was trying to think from that perspective of Lindy effect and how I can create something that will sort of last, something timeless.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So funny thing, my book is that is why my book is supposed to be in future, but I try to make it so that it is not the future that you think will happen. Like,
it's very
like one line I like, and I think it will be a great line to start with. You buckle up as I take you way, way back into the future. Yeah. Because when we think about the future, we think about how a lot of things will be different, and the future surprises us because of how a lot of things will be the same.
Yeah. Because we think it's all going to be like, I don't know, very technologically advanced. I'm kind of with you there. It should just be like I always say, why aren't flying cars a big thing right now? I thought by like 2023 we'd have flying cars, but no. It's just
people are still going back to riding bikes.
Exactly. Yeah. I think so. That's just some human nature. They're just pushing for more.
So time really surprises us, because we find that something that was relevant 100 years ago is relevant today. Awesome. And that means it will probably be relevant 100 years from now.
So that's why you have to keep what you're doing what you're doing. I have to keep what we're doing. So like, hopefully 10 years from now, someone is watching this and be like,
damn.
Any last parting shots for anyone who's thinking to go into like the creative space, whether it's writing, it's specifically writing?
Okay. Going into any creative space, even what you do, it will always feel sort of weird, sort of like a cliche. And a lot of people, like the people who know you, will be like, Wangari, what are you doing?
And now, exactly.
This is not you.
Yeah. Yep.
But you have to summon your courage. And just do something. I say, and it's something I came across from what I interact with. You cannot get a fulfilling life. You cannot sort of lead a fulfilling life by just consuming.
No way.
We do a lot of consuming, and sometimes we need to give it back to the world.
Create.
To create, to sort of make our own like impact. Like put our hand on the table, like this is me.
This is me. Yes.
I'll leave a mark.
Yeah.
And it's very important. Yeah. So I encourage more young people to be to get us to sort of summon that courage, because there's a lot that people have, there's a lot of talents out there, but people are not very courageous to sort of explore what they think they can do. And for someone will say, I'm trying to wait for the right time, I'm trying to wait for the right money, I want this gadget, I want that gadget. By the choosing writing, I chose it because it is one of the cheapest way to sort of share this story.
No, it's very true.
And writing is powerful
Yeah.
because when you read a story, everyone would not see the same thing. I tend to think everyone who read my story would create their own story in their
heads.
Yeah. Unlike movies where 10 people will see the same thing and sort of have the same image in their head. When you're reading, everyone has a different image in
and
their
understanding and
head. Exactly.
Beautiful. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Cool. Wow. You are so, I like how content you are as a person and as with yourself and what you're doing. And I think definitely keeping that, you are going to go like places. I think you are definitely such a good role model.
Thank you.
To a lot of the young generation. And yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. Always like rooting for your success. That's why I was like very happy to invite you as a guest.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
can I add something small?
of course.
You've said something about me being content with myself.
Yeah.
And I found self-acceptance is something very powerful.
Very.
And there was this small video I was watching. It was an interview on YouTube. And this guy was like, we look at stories from one layer, but everyone will get something from the same stories. Someone else will get a totally new perspective from that story. And he said his perspective from this story from the Bible, the parable of remember this son who went and squandered his father's
the prodigal son.
The prodigal son. So he said how he sort of absorbed that story is that we are all the father. And these two sons, one, the older son who stays at home, that is our intellect.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the younger son who goes out there, that is the adventurer in us.
The adventurer, yeah.
And your intellect...
So interesting, yeah.
Your intellect and your adventurer will always collide from time to time.
So true.
So when the father is like, he's slaughtering this bull to celebrate the younger son coming back.
Yeah.
And the intellect is
just like, what do you mean? Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, I knew what he was doing was shitty.
Yeah.
And now you're celebrating. So you have to like forgive yourself 1,000 times.
Yep.
Because you'll make a lot of mistakes in life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So self-acceptance actually is welcoming back that younger son, the adventurer, and celebrating and being in harmony.
Yeah. And I think it's also a lot of self-love.
Exactly.
Love yourself first.
Exactly.
You just have to love yourself. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So yeah, there you go. Make sure you read the book. I'll definitely leave it like in the description. And I'd love to hear more stories about this. I genuinely enjoyed that just conversation and that exchange. It feels like we need to have more of this. Yeah. Deep and meaningful conversations. So yeah, until next time, thank you so much. And yeah, make sure you subscribe, share, and read the book and let us know what you think. Kwaheri.
9 to 5 has good vibes, but 9 to 5 with Ngari has better.